Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Sweden. This is my first time in your country. It's nice from what I've seen being here for like 12 hours. Thanks, Thomas and Arndt and everyone else involved for having me here. It's a huge honor, and I'm going to get started. So I'm here, obviously, to talk about the future of media. I move around a lot when I talk, so kind of like distracting in a way, but there's going to be some pretty pictures up here. So my name is SamSheffer. I'm 25 years old. I am from the United States, specifically New Jersey, this little tiny red state over here. Born and raised there. I have 3 brothers, so there's 4 of us. And growing up, I was, simply put, obsessed with technology. I still am, but really growing up, I had a phone since I was 12. I've had a computer since I can remember. I've had basically every video game system since I can remember. And like I said, growing up with 4 kids in the family, one person got a Game Boy, everyone got a Game Boy. One person got a PSP, everyone got a PSP. So it was sort of just every day. We were always on the internet, connected to Napster and AIM and playing video games, and yeah, really, really, really into technology. And that goes into my next topic, which is adopting early. So I have this obsession with getting on new social platforms really early. Basically, as soon as I see a new social platform, I hop on it. Why? Because personally, I enjoy seeing the way developers kind of create these apps, and I like getting into the mind of, okay, so we switched this button, made it this shade of gray, or put this menu, or changed this UI over here. So it kind of like gives me an insight into the mind of these creators and how they're changing their platforms based on user experience. And like Twitter, I got on in 2009, which is actually relatively late, but a lot of the features that are built into Twitter today are because of the users, like the mention and the hashtags and the retweet. Those are all things that their early adopters and early users were using and creating, and that sort of helped the platform grow overall. Snapchat also on early. Periscope. The day Periscope came out, it was like March 28th, I believe. There was a fire in New York City, and that was legitimately 2 blocks away from where I lived. Really weird coincidence, but Meerkat had been out for like a month or 2, and I was waiting for Periscope to launch, and I got on Periscope that day and periscoped the fire, and like 80 people were watching for like a few hours, and it was just really telling that getting on something early kind of helps, because you have an edge and can see this platform in its infancy and watch it evolve. Same thing with Snapchat and same thing with Instagram. I've built substantial followings on each of these platforms because I've been on them for so long. So now I'll talk about my work. I've been in the media industry, as I like to call it, for 7 years. I got my first job at a website called Engadget back in 2009 when I was 19 years old. At the beginning of my second year of college, I was an intern for them, not in the sense of an internship, but I was an intern, meaning I was an employee. I helped with a lot of intern work and eventually worked my way up. I was writing articles for them. And then in 2011, a bunch of the editors left the site to start a new website called TheVerge.com. Has anyone heard of The Verge in this room? Cool. So I helped launch The Verge, and that launched in November of 2011 when I was a senior in college. And right after I graduated, they made me in charge of all the social media platforms, so Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Periscope. And I was doing all of that solo for about 2.5 years till we hired someone else. And made YouTube videos, like launched the Snapchat, like our organic Snapchat account, wrote a bunch of articles. And then in August of 2015, so like 6 months ago, I joined Mashable to run the Snapchat Discover channel that we have. So I want to talk about this is kind of cut off, but that says find your passion. Part of what I found really incredible working at Engadget and The Verge and now at Mashable is that these jobs allow me to excel and sort of just like do what I love, really simply put. Like I mentioned, growing up with technology and skateboarding, I was able to blend those two things together and make content out of those things. So this is a screenshot of The Verge's YouTube channel. They're very close to 1 million subscribers, and this is sorted by most viewed videos. Here's a video of mine. Here's a video of mine. This one has 2.6 million views, and this was just a project. I said I want to like explore the world of electric skateboards and rideables. I went out, talked to founders of companies that are doing these things, got a bunch of products. The video team made a kick-ass video, and it paid off. And then in July of this year, one of the last things I did at The Verge was I came to Europe for the first time, actually, went to Spain, rode Lexus's hoverboard. That video has 3.2 million views. And I should note that 0 of those views were paid. Everything is organic. So I think in really honing your passions and doing what you love, if the stars align, it's not easy, but if the stars align, it works, and it works well. So I'll talk about Mashable now, running the Snapchat Discover account. So we actually got on Snapchat organically at Mashable at CES 2014. So Mashable was one of the first media content creator companies, brands to get on Snapchat, like make an account that you post live stories to. And then in August of this year, we joined Snapchat Discover, and we are one of 18 publishers that is on Snapchat Discover. And if you've never seen our channel, I highly encourage you to watch it. There's new content every single day. We are a tech-focused channel, so all of the content you see in there is in some way related to tech. And we specialize in tech, like I said, which allows us to do some really awesome creative work. So we had a whole takeover day of like Star Wars focused content. We celebrated the launch of Super Mario on September 13th. We had an entire Snapchat edition dedicated to Super Mario. We did it for Harry Potter. We did it for Apple. And part of what makes this special is that the content that lives in Discover is so unique. All of these are handmade pieces of content specifically for Snapchat, and our creative team is cranking out this stuff on a daily basis. We publish every single day, 7 days a week. So you can think of it as sort of a digital magazine that publishes every day and then that disappears every day. So designing content for a new medium, it's a challenge and it's exciting. So the way Snapchat Discover works, if you've never seen it before, it's kind of like a vertical plane, and then you can swipe up and you reveal content underneath. So part of the challenges of adapting your content is, doing things in vertical, messing with headlines and figuring out how to tell your story in a quick and concise way, because you can just swipe through, but how do you grab attention? And it's been amazing to see what the creative team at Mashable has done to sort of animate these headlines, because really at the end of the day, it's just another format of the content. And something like this has never existed before, where it's kind of like everything is a GIF in a sense. Everything is like a little video with sound and animation. And it's been awesome watching the creative team adapt and develop just ways to tell this is a story about this, but with a specific animation and a headline. Yeah, it's been awesome. Now, I want to talk about the media landscape in general, because as someone who has grown up using tech this much, and as someone who has been working in media for almost a decade, it's insane how fast things are moving, and they're continuing to move. So I don't even need to mention like physical media, DVDs, CDs, newspapers, magazines. that stuff is dying. It's pretty clear. And we moved very quickly to web-based, the homepage. Now, like, the homepage is dead. And I think we are now at an apex where everything is becoming live, and there's this sense of urgency, at least for the younger generations, to consume content as fast as possible. So when you think of Facebook as a platform, everything that is in your Facebook newsfeed is old, right? So you're clicking through your newsfeed 6 hours ago, 24 hours ago, 36 hours ago. Everything is in the past already. With applications and platforms like Snapchat and Periscope, Periscopes expire after 24 hours, Snaps expire after 24 hours in your story, and they disappear when you open them. So these platforms have created this sense of urgency for these kids to get in there and consume as fast as possible. And there's this sense of instant gratification where you want to open your application and be served immediately. You don't have to wait for, the dial-up tone. You look at Facebook Instant Articles, everything is moving toward now, and if you miss it, it's kind of just gone forever and becomes irrelevant pretty quickly. And going back to the early adopter thing, so like I said, at The Verge, I started the Snapchat account at The Verge, and I think it's just really important to consider when these new platforms show up. A lot of times, most times, these new platforms, and you can even really look at Snapchat, it was disregarded immediately. A lot of these apps, when they come up, they have a really rocky start, and you never know where these apps are going to be in 5 years. You look at Snapchat 2-3 years ago, look at Facebook when it first came out, Instagram, before it was bought by Facebook, it was just this like hipster place to post pictures. And I think it's extremely important for content creators to make an account when these platforms come out, because how hard is it to put your name in, put an email, hit OK, and now you're on the platform and you put your stake in the ground, and it's up to you if you want to create content there. So like Peach, things like Beam, and just all of these platforms are coming out of nowhere, and no one knows, literally no one knows what's going to happen to any of them, and there is just low-hanging fruit there. You grab it and get an account, and you'll be done, and you'll be on it. And then thinking about where your audiences are, right? So you don't know what's going to happen to these platforms, but you do know that creating an account is going to help you, because in case something blows up, you'll be ahead of the game. And so like I said before, everything is sort of shifting now from the desktop to mobile. Where's the audience? Where are your readers and fans hanging out? Where are those conversations happening? It has a lot to do, like, in order to be a successful media company, you obviously have to have infrastructure and smart leaders, but there's the content part and then there's the distribution part. So if you're not creating content specifically for the mobile and for all of these platforms, I think you're doing it wrong. And it's important to have dedicated resources and teams, people that specialize in each of these individual platforms, to make sure that you're sort of feeding all of your fans wherever they are. And this is me. I am SamSheffer, basically everywhere on the internet, Snapchat, Periscope, YouTube, Instagram, you name it. My name is SamSheffer there. If you hit me up on Snapchat, I will respond to you. You'll see me skateboarding to work in New York City if you want to get an insight into that. And that's it. Thanks, guys.